Hello, welcome to Stories in Time. My name is Ellouise Schoettler. I'm the storyteller. One afternoon, near Memorial Day, a few years back, I was sitting in a doctor's office waiting while my husband went to be reviewed for something in his leg. This was orthopedics. And so to be sure that I wouldn't be bored while I was there, I had taken a bag full of books with me. You do understand how essential that is because the orthopedist waiting room is always full. And I was sitting down there deep into my book when I looked up. The room was crowded. We were all sitting close together, and across from me, just 2 people down, was a man whose arms were bare and he had beautiful skin. I sat there and looked at it. Beautiful skin. And I could see because he was wearing a t-shirt that he had ripped the sleeves out at the shoulder. So his whole arm, I could see it, different colors. Looked like drawings on his arm. I looked away, and then I looked back, being very careful so that he couldn't see that I was looking at his arm. And then I looked back again, and when I looked up the second time, he was looking at me. I was embarrassed. So I said, "I'm sorry. You have such beautiful colors on your arm." I know, my tattoos. I'm proud of them myself. I said, "They're beautiful." I said, "Would you let me ask you some questions about your tattoos?" He said, "Oh, lady, go ahead. Ask me any questions you want. I'll be glad to tell you about my tattoos. But first, I have to tell you about how I lost my leg." I looked down. He did have one of his legs was off. He had on shorts so I could see that he had lost it at the knee, a little above the knee, I think. And he'd made sort of like a pillowcase that came up over it, and it was beautiful, beautiful fabric. And I said, "Well, you want to tell me the story of how you lost your leg?" And he said, "Yes, I do." I didn't care anything about how he lost his leg. I wanted to know about the tattoos. But I realized that the price to get the story of the tattoos was going to be the story of how he lost his leg. So I settled into the chair and said, "Yes, how did that happen to you? That's terrible. How did it happen?" One night late, I was riding back up to the western Montgomery County. It was dark. It was late. I was in a car. It was a steady car. I didn't think I was driving too fast. I must have gone to sleep for a second, maybe a nanosecond, and wham! I hit a tree. I was tossed out of that car and tossed over. I fell down on my face in the dirt. Somebody saw me, called an ambulance. They came and they looked at me. I was in bad shape, and I don't remember any of this. I've been told what happened to me. They turned me over, they looked, and I heard one of them say, "I think he's gone. You might as well call the truck." And my partner, the partner that was working on me, I heard him say, "You can't do that. It takes two to pronounce in Montgomery County. And we've only got one pronouncing here." Well, the next arrival was one of the fire officers. And he came and he reached down and he put his hand on my neck. I was unconscious, I think, but I had enough conscious that I could feel it when he pushed into my neck. And he said, "Stop. You don't need the truck. You need the helicopter. He is alive. I can feel his pulse. This man is alive." So the helicopter came in rushed down, buzzed, 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 came down, picked me up, and took me to the power, you know, to the really heavy-duty accident at the hospital. I was there for a long time. I lost my leg. Very sorry to lose my leg. My face was smashed in. They had to do a lot of work on my face. They had to put back things, pull out a nose. How do you think it looks? They worked really hard. What do you think? I looked at him. I could hardly speak. I was hardly breathing. And I said, I think you look great. So he told me a little bit about everything. And then he said, that's what happened. I hit a 200-year-old tree up here in Montgomery County. That's the tree that did all this to me. And this is the tree. He held up his arm, and tattooed down his outside arm was the picture of an angel. He had them draw a big angel with arms and wings and everything. And then he turned his arm up, and down the inside aspect of his arm was a black tree, heavy, and it reached around and clutched toward the outside with its empty, empty branches. It looked frightening. Somebody that had grabbed hold of him. This is where I keep the story so that I'll never forget what that angel did for me that night. Good grief. That's an incredible story. Can I ask you more questions about it? I mean, how old are you? What do you do? Lady, please. I'm 37 years old. I drive a truck, 18-wheeler, a truck. You know, for my fun in life, I ride a Harley. It's just been Memorial Day here. And I was on my Harley riding with my friend because every year we go down to the Pentagon to join the crowd of motorcycles that are down there, specialties and not so specialties, to ride in rolling thunder to celebrate the veterans on Memorial Day. Mostly those that sacrificed completely, but you include your care for all those that served in the military. So I was down there just a few days ago. The noise, it's so much noise when those machines all get together and everybody's whirling up. You know, even if they're not moving, they sort of And then we all saddled up and ride through town over to the Vietnam Memorial, where we gather to honor the veterans that didn't come home. I didn't know about that. He said, I didn't think you did. That's why I told you like that. Your face sort of went blank. I didn't think you knew anything about rolling thunder. I have to go. But then the best thing that happened that day, we got over to the mall where they have it near the Vietnam Memorial. And as I was walking around where they're selling things and their little tents set up, I saw somebody, a young man, sitting in a wheelchair at the doorway of one of those tents. And I looked, and I could see what I saw. He had lost both legs, one above the knee and one below the knee. And what I couldn't resist was the fact that in one of his knees, he had one of those computer chips. I'd never heard about them, but I'd never seen it. So I went over toward him, and as I was coming, he knew, he could see that I was looking at his knee. And as I got closer, he sort of straightened his back and sat up and said, "What do you want? Just get away from me if you're looking at my knee." I don't mean to intrude, you know. I'm just so fascinated by that knee. You can't see because I have on long pants today and you have on shorts. And I don't have one either. I've lost my leg a little higher up than yours, but I've lost my leg too. And he sort of softened a little bit. And I went over and he asked me how I lost it, and I told him. And then we sat there and talked, and he said, "Why are you down here?" I said, "For rolling thunder." "How did you get down here?" I said, I ride a Harley." "You couldn't ride a Harley. You've lost one of your legs." "Well, and you've lost two of your legs, but if you want to ride a Harley, you can do it. And you can ride with me next year." "I can never do it." "Are you going to be here?" "I'll go get it." So I went and I brought back my Harley and I stood it in front of him and I said, "Come on over here. Put your butt down on this seat." And he did. I helped him over and he scooted up on the seat. "Put your hands on the handles and turn them down. Squeeze them tight. Vroom, vroom, vroom." And I could see on his face that he was looking at me, but he was feeling it in him, the power that runs through you when you've got your hands on a rolling Harley. "You can ride with me next year. I want you to do that. Think about it. You can do that." "I do want to do it." "What's your name?" "Joe," he said. "Joe." I gave him my card and I wrote down his number. And he said, "Will you call me?" "I'll call you. You can count on it. I will call you." I tell you, lady, I thought about it a lot, and I never could really work it out in my mind. How in the world did I not get killed that night up there in Montgomery County when I hit that tree? It didn't kill the tree. And I was surprised it didn't kill me either. You ask that when you think about it, when you see what you can do for that young veteran that's sitting there. And I think for sure he's going to be riding with you. I hope so. On Memorial Day. Just be sure to tell people when you tell my story that my name is David. And this is David's story. Thank you for coming.